How is the biggest card show in northern New England? I'll tell you about it. Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. So on Saturday, I went to the Portland Expo building in Portland, Maine for what is apparently billed as the biggest card show in northern New England, which is basically Maine and maybe New Hampshire, Vermont, where I don't think there are very many card shows. Anyway, maybe it was bigger than the Augusta show that happened earlier this year. I can't really say for sure. I'm sure size of the show is based on the number of tables, number of vendors maybe. I don't know. It's let's start at the beginning. So the Portland Expo doesn't really have any parking. So I didn't get a parking spot, and I drove around and around and around Portland looking for a spot all over. And every time I would see a spot, the car in front of me would grab it. And I found myself just going farther and farther. And finally, after quite a while, I just parked in a parking lot and paid $22 to park. So then I went up to the line, and there was a long line. And this is a popular show, long line of people. And you could prepay to get in. And the advertisement, or the online ticketing system said prepay to avoid the line, and you could prepay $12.50, or you could pay $10 at the door and you'd have to wait in the line. Well, it turned out that there were so many people who prepaid that they waited in line, and the only people who were able to get in quickly were the people who didn't prepay. And so I got in for $10 instead of the $12.50 if you prepaid, and I got right in. So the guys I was with in line, I left them in the dust and I went right in. But at this point, I've already spent $32 before I've even gone in the door. $22, my fault. I know a lot of people who got in without paying for parking. Good for them. I couldn't find a spot, so get in, and it is a big show. It's all in one room, so it probably looks bigger than the Augusta show, which is in multiple rooms, and it's in a gym. It's I think Portland Expo is where the Maine, it's not the Red Claws anymore, Maine Celtics play. So it's in a big room, and it was full, and it was very, very well organized. So I went in, and you've got rows of tables, probably, I don't know, 6 rows, 8 rows, long rows that take up the entire gymnasium there of tables. And so I went to the right, and I went all the way down, and then all the way back. And then I went to the next row, went all the way down, and then all the way back on the other side, and just kept doing that. And I spent 2 hours just going down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down. And like I said, extremely well organized, and they had a shocking number of variety of cards there. Every type of card you could want. I felt like there was a lot of trading card games, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, all those things. I felt like that was like at least a quarter of the tables, if not more. They also had vintage pop culture cards. There were a lot of vintage hockey cards. There was everything. Not much vintage baseball. So there was one table, and it was Don, formerly Don's Sports Card Center of Portland, former owner of Don's, had what was apparently like his C case of vintage baseball cards. Normally he has a case with like $500,000 worth of cards in it. This one, he had only one Gaudy Babe Ruth and a couple of T206 Cobbs, things like that. So not that great, apparently. I stopped and I looked and oohed and awed at his table, but I'm obviously not buying anything there. Another guy had a recent set break of a 1956 Topps set baseball, and he had the cards out, and he had it was either a Hank Aaron, or I think it was the Hank Aaron, and man, it was mint. And so I asked, how much for this? And he said, I'm not selling that, I'm sending it to SGC, and he thinks it could get an 8, and I don't disagree. Whoops. I don't disagree with him. It could get an 8. It's more likely a 7, but that was a nice 56 Topps. And then he also had a Ted Williams that had some serious edge issues, and maybe a stain on it too, and Clemente that looked really good, way out of my price range. So, but there just wasn't a whole lot of vintage, and there was a lot of modern, a lot of trading card game stuff, some junk wax, other sports, other non-sports things. But overall, great show after you get in the door. I'm going to show you a couple of pickups that I got. First of all, this came in the mail. This was not from the card show. This is my fifth Pedro Prospect card on the PSA Pedro Prospect set registry. Another 10, my fifth 10 out of 11. I need 6 more. So then my friend Kevin, I'm a Shane McClanahan collector. He gave me a McClanahan mini, and he gave me, I'm obviously a Yaz collector. He gave me a Yaz. Kevin's Cash on Instagram. You should check him out. And then this guy had 3 Darryl Strawberry 83 Topps tradeds. One was $40 and 2 were $50. And I tried talking him down to 30, and he said, look at these strawberries. Look at how nice they are. And he said the 2 $50 ones he'd offer to me for 40, and they are amazing. So I bought one of them for 40. I'm sending it off to PSA. Realistically, there's no chance it gets a 10, right? But I've looked at the 10s on eBay. Oh man, I'm sure it's probably an 8 or a 7. That's just the way this works. But it looked too good to not send in, so I bought that, and I needed that card for my Mike Payne Best Cards of the 80s set registry. So then I love Shohei, and I wanted another. One of my other goals this year was to buy another of his rookie cards as prices come down. And this is the 1983 version of his 2018 card, and you can see it's a little shiny there. See the price tag, $100. And I looked at it and I couldn't tell what the variation was. And I asked him, and he said, oh, I don't know what it's called, but I printed out the last eBay sale. And he's an older gentleman, probably in his 70s. And so he shows me the printout that he has. And I didn't really look at it closely, but the most recent sale was for $112. And he said, I'll give it to you for $90. And I was like, okay, sure. I want this card. And it kind of matches up nicely with my 83 Strawberry. So I get it home and I start looking at it. And from everything I can tell, this is a $200 to $250 card. I don't know. It's like a 83 silver pack refractor, maybe. I would love for somebody to tell me conclusively what this is. And this is part of the problem with modern cards, is it's so hard to tell. So if you know, let me know. I'm pretty convinced it's a $200+ card. I'm also convinced that this is another card that has a chance at a 10. So another one I'm going to send off to PSA. If it 10s, I'll probably sell it. Because that's, if I've got the card correct, that's like a $700, $800 card. I don't know. We'll see. I'm undecided on that. And then I also got this 1989 Fleer pack with Randy Johnson on the front for $5. Randy Johnson rookie on the front of a pack? Sure, I'll take it. Not going to open it. But who knows? There could be a Griffey back there too. On the back is Gene Nelson. But yeah, I just thought that was pretty neat. $5 for that. The dealers were great. I stopped and talked to a bunch of them. I ran into my subscriber, Steve Pizzo, who's a commenter on my channel as well. I've run into him at a couple shows. Really nice guy. Oh, and then I went over to Don's Sports Card Center, and I had the store to myself. I was the only customer in there for the first like 15 minutes. Talked to Ron, the owner, awesome guy. And then I looked around, and something I haven't talked about yet on here, but you'll see on Hobby Think Tank Thursday night, I have started collecting vintage Red Sox programs, and I want to get one from each season. And he had 1951 1952. And he had 53, but I already have 53, so I passed on that one. And this is the 54. If you have any vintage Red Sox programs, really any year, I'd be very interested. Shoot me an email, thejunkwaxhero@gmail.com. And remember, I am doing a Whatnot sale tomorrow night, Wednesday, 27th, 7 p.m. All vintage baseball cards. I'm really excited about that, and I hope to see you there. The link is in my description to this video. All right, thanks guys. Have a great day.